All right, everyone, I'll just play my little banner. We'll be off. Banner, or is the brand? There we are. Hi, everyone. This is Norman Koshnak here. I'm on as day 2 approaches an end. We can see a partnership of 52 of 113 balls between Aksa Patel, who's not out, 32, and Ravindra Jadeja is not out 57 after having taken 5 wickets and not out 57 on his comeback test match. Absolutely magnificent to see Jadeja really taking hold of this match. Literally the difference between India and Australia now really is Ravindra Jadeja versus a non-existent Cameron Green, who's not there. Effectively Australia without an all-rounder. Travis Head's out of the side. Peter Hanscom, albeit it okay. Renshaw, who's apparently got a knee injury. They're quoting as him having a knee injury. Have all not performed to their best. Australia have lost Agar, have taken, when I say lost, he's not been selected. He was the only one that was close to an all-rounder. No one to match Jadeja's class. 57 not out. India are currently 7 for 292. There's some 115 runs in front, which is probably too much. Australia could collapse totally even lower than that if the likes of Ashwin, Jadeja, Patel all get their chance. Really, it's quite incredible the extent to which India are dominating this test match. So again, Australia all out for 177 yesterday, and India were 1 for 77 at stumps, with Rohit Sharma coming out today and belting a masterclass, unblemished 120 for his clean bowl by Pat Cummins. Pat Cummins' only wicket of the day. We haven't mentioned, though, in all fairness, Todd Murphy's efforts. He's now taken a 5-wicket haul on his debut. He's 5 for 79, and he's just finished his 33rd over there. 96 kilometres speed is pretty fast for his bowling. So he has 5 for 79, which is a great performance in debut for sure for Australia. Both Lyon and Cummins have picked up wickets, and that's it. Of course, India have got a partnership here well over 50 between Jadeja and Aksa Patel. It's going to, if I think the biggest partnership around 73, and there's been a 60-odd partnership. This is the 3rd biggest partnership. This could well be the biggest partnership of the day, and it's for the 8th wicket. So 7 for 292 of 103 overs, and quite frankly, this is an Indian dominance by 100 miles. The fact that Rohit Sharma got a magnificent 120 says it all. He looked absolutely fantastic. And first Indian captain to get centuries in all 3 formats, the T20, ODI and Test. That's just come to fruition now. Pat Cummins is going in the bowler. He has bowled tirelessly. He's toiled away. He took that wicket when he got Rohit Sharma. Hasn't been successful otherwise, but he's been bowled quite admirably. But the problem with the Australian lineup is by far and away they've only got 4 bowlers. Labuschagne had a trundle without much effect. They're bowl short. And whether Travis Head, I actually don't think Travis Head's selection or non-selection was actually a mistake. I have no problems with it at all, considering his form on the subcontinent. They put Todd Martin ahead of Agar and Shrepson and a few others, and that's actually turned out to be a real success story with his 5 wickets. But look, the fact that they've gone without Head hasn't really affected the match. They actually, quite frankly, missed Cam Green, because Cam Green would have provided that 5th bowling choice, and then we would have bowled pretty admirably. They're showing Virat Kohli sitting there in the stand. He was out to a rather unfortunate leg side nick off Todd Murphy. Aksa Patel's impressive. He's on 32 not out. He's handling himself admirably indeed. So it was about maybe another 15 minutes worth of play left. before we actually hit the mark. So, any comments? Munchie's there. He's saying hi, Norman, and preparing still, but listening in. So that's good. So, Munchie's there. Munchie, of course, last night we had David Graveney and then obviously Chris and Richard Vernon on the show talking about the Australia-India series, but we also were talking a lot about the England-New Zealand series coming up. Hey, David.
Norman, how are you?
I'm very good. I'm enjoying watching this match. It's enthralling, isn't it? Are you watching it?
Yes. I'm glad I talked up Jadeja yesterday. Anyway, not today.
Oh, he's been fantastic. He's 57 not out at the moment, able to pull the backs up itself. He is extraordinary, isn't he?
Yeah, he's had a bit of good fortune with the LBWs, and he does play. Actually, he plays spin like English players play it, which is bat and pad together, which with the current rules is taking a risk. So,
true.
But he is. Murphy's bowled really well, and they're just doing what we talked about yesterday. They're not wasting the opportunity of their first time they bat. So however long it's going to take, that's when it gets past 100, that's a big lead on a wicket like that. But it's not impossible. Sometimes the wickets can go slow, but Murphy bowled the right pace, I think, which was the key thing. And they hadn't seen him before. They played Lions for year after year after year, so they know what he can do and what he can't do. And he hasn't bowled badly; he just hasn't created any opportunity.
No. But Tom Murphy's been impressive, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good, but it's they're not letting the debate about heads go to rest. I can assure you.
I'm getting a bit sick of it. Travis said it's not the reason why they're not doing well. They miss Cameron, as we spoke about. There's a lot of whinging going on with the Australian press at the moment. And now this new ball tampering sensation, they're trying to say some ointment that Jadeja had was being used on the ball, which was complete rubbish.
And that is not going to affect the ball. So it doesn't... when you're applying sandpaper to one side of it, that's a different matter.
That's a bit more potent, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's been really good. I like Test cricket when it's like this. Like every run is virtually vital to what's going to go on. So the seamers have a role to play, and they both, apart from Cummins' first spell. Actually, Australia have bowled really well. They've tried to apply some pressure from both ends, but they're dealing against a side who are very familiar with the conditions, Norman. So it's hard.
But how was Rohit Sharma? That was a masterclass, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, he played brilliantly. Absolutely,
it was actually faultless.
He would have been under some pressure. There's a whole host of young Indian batsmen who are queuing up to play. So. There are some really strong teams around, but I do think that Australia's shown their character. They're not going to lie down. Where, if you remember when England were playing in India the last time, they just capitulated basically. They just saw the ball spin and then just ran off. So I don't think they do that now, but.
Well, I can't wait, as Chris said yesterday, to this time next year when England are touring India. That'll be a great series.
It will be, because they will play the way that, assuming that they don't have a torrid time against Australia, which I think it will be the way that our media operate. They're just, and I think Australia will be the same. There's just two extremes. There's no bit in the middle. And if the Australian seam attack is fit, then they will cause problems, because Josh Hazlewood is a serious bowler. But I do think that Robinson is somebody they haven't faced before, or not a lot. So and Anderson and Broad, they must see this as their swan song. I can't see them being around in another 2 years. So yeah, there's some really good series about. And actually, the Pakistan series was um, uh, matching suffering from a lack of practice. I think what
That's
they are
Dunsky, by the way.
a lack of practice of playing against the red ball as opposed to shed load of white ball matches. That would be the difference.
Actually, I don't think we can use the excuse of lack of practice at all. I find that because we actually went about a pitch in Australia over near North Sydney. It was doctored in a way which was meant to be like in these conditions, and this pitch has quite frankly not turned out to be a big turner anyway.
No, and I subscribe in terms of actually, if you tamper with it, not tamper with it, if you make it spin too much, it actually it narrows the difference between good sides and average sides, because anybody can run up and make the ball do something. On this wicket, it is spinning. It's not easy to bat on, but you've got to have a skill level, because if you don't bowl in the right place, you can still score. So
exactly.
yeah.
Now, so India are now 7 for 302.
I think it's a really good wicket, because 250 is quite a gettable score at any time. So
Sure.
Australia were under par, and these guys are now going to go over par. But when you're in the lead, it becomes very difficult. Every bowler's trying to take a wicket-taking ball, and the batsman, every run they score, there's a bit less pressure. So yeah, but Jadeja is showing what an all-rounder, a really good all-rounder in a team, what difference it can make.
Well, he's got patience about his batting and his bowling. He knows his conditions. Axar Patel's on 42. He's having a field day here. This partnership is getting close to the biggest partnership of the innings.
Yeah, and Patel will be batting like that because he hasn't taken a wicket as a bowler. So he's thinking, I've got to contribute something here. So, and that's just a normal reaction. Spinners who don't take any wickets, it's a bit like sort of, and can bat and tend to, if they don't get any wickets in a match, will get runs. They feel that they've got to contribute something. So.
Yeah. So I look at the ground as they've got an aerial shot going on at the moment. It looks like, I have to use the words, in the middle of nowhere. It's between Mumbai and Kolkata, somewhere in the middle between those two major cities. It looks quite. I'm not sure who's from Nagpur.
That's right in the middle of the country, isn't it?
It is, and it's surrounded by a couple of farms I can see, and then a fairly big parking lot. But it's a rather unusual stadium, to say the least. And look, they're all in. Have you been to Nagpur?
No. I've only been to. Been quite a lot to Chandigarh, actually, for some apparent reason. I don't quite know why, but Delhi's the one with the odd stands, isn't it? It looks as if it's it's been sloping to one side.
Right.
So I've been to Chandigarh because that tended to be the first test in the series. Been to Mumbai a few times, but more the Brabourne Stadium, because I think I've bored you with the fact that actually my uncle is the heaviest run scorer of a non-Indian on that ground, which will always be the case because they're not playing there anymore, or they're playing limited.
Brabourne's a great batting track, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but it is a colonial throwback. So, because that's where they keep the Ranji Trophy, which literally is about 10 foot tall.
Now I'm looking at the bowling. Now bowling's has been respectable but not penetrative. Lyon's been. He took the wicket of Sky there of Surya Kumar Yadav on his debut.
You would have to say that actually on a wicket like that was a pretty average shot, really, because he's trying to drive it on the up. He might have been deceived, but he hadn't faced the ball from Lyon, so why play a shot like that? So.
Yeah,
and Sharma, unless he's really close to the ball, is really just trying to work it through the leg side. So if you had Rahul Dravid talking to him, he thinks you ought to hit it the opposite way for spin. He thinks you ought to hit it off spin straight through extra cover.
Now Bharat Marani's just said that, as we just noted, Nagpur is the geographic centre of India.
Yeah, that's where I thought it was, but.
Yeah.
Well, let's say if you wanted a mission of trying to go to every single ground in India, you could be there for a few months. Actually, so they have got a few, and they're all fantastic stadiums. I think Ahmedabad, 130,000. I defy 130,000 to have a decent view of a cricket match. That's just too many people. And I think the MCG is a bit like that. Because if you get on those top tiers, they're like the dots running around.
All right, so this match is. Do you think? I mean, look, they're well over 300 at the moment. They probably could go to 350 plus, which is remarkable on this pitch. Do you think Australia's going to make India bat again?
Depends. I think depends. They can't afford to lose. Well, they can't afford to lose early wickets. I was about to say early wickets against seam. It doesn't matter who bowls. They've just got to try and not block, because if you start blocking, the bowlers bowl better. They've just got to make some dents into the lead in a non-reckless way, which is a fine balance. The difference between positive and reckless, I think, is very thin.
Well, Axar Patel's just hit Labuschagne to the boundary. He's now on 46. Labuschagne bowled a rank full toss of a typical amateur bowler that he is.
Yeah.
And
I don't understand. And I've seen him bowl. I know, again, this is in your bugbear of the Big Bash, but Renshaw bowled quite a bit of off spin for the heat. I'm not sure why.
Renshaw's got a knee problem.
Oh, is it?
There was reports earlier though that he has a knee problem.
So why is he playing in the first place?
I don't know. I don't know. He had COVID the previous Test match, which was fat. He kept it quiet, I think, and he got to play, and then he was deemed to be able to play. India will win by I think Biramarani's right. India will win by an innings. They're already 120 odd in front, and they're not even near finishing their innings. If they go any more than 150, I can't see Australia getting the 177 scoreline. They got the first. We can't.
Yeah, let's see how they go. The closer it gets to 200, then it becomes really difficult. So are you on again tomorrow?
Yes, I will be.
Fine, because I've got there's an urgent call I've got to take, because I'm involved with the Professional Cricketers Trust, which is the charity that looks after players. And there's a case that's cropped up this morning that we need to reach a conclusion. There's a timeline about when this guy can have an operation.
No worries.
So I've got to peel off, and then I'll see you in the morning.
Okay, no worries. Thanks, David, for coming and having a chat.
All right, cheers, bye.
Okay, ciao. So it's good to have David Gravity pop in there for 15 minutes. He adds a lot of value. Of course, I'm very proud today, because one of my girls, you would argue, I've been managing, Janatul Shamona, who played for Bangladesh at the age of 16, actually got to play for the ACT, which is one of the states of Australia, which is the next step to playing for Australia. So it's pretty impressive. She got to play, took a wicket today over in Orange, which is a rural town, and I was very impressed with her there indeed. So okay. So we're watching now as India are rampaging to 7 for 310, and they are now 133 runs in front. 133 runs in front. Today's is on the 60. Axar Patel is now 47 not out. He's rampaging away. He could well go 50. In this third session, each session has taken 2 wickets, where, of course, India were 1 for 77 at the start of the play. They're now 7 for 310. So they've effectively had a 233 run day for 6 wickets. 6 for 233 today is what they've mustered. And in each of the sessions, they've had 28 overs and 27 in the last session. And the last session was 3 runs today, which is pretty impressive considering all. It's still going on. They're not finished yet, though. We've got Lyon bowling to Axar Patel, who could well go out with a 50 before the end of the day's play. Mr. Blue, Dharmashala may be the only venue where kangaroos can be competitive. Well, does that mean the kangaroos are going to come on the grass and eat the grass? No, I'm I'm guessing you're talking about Australia. If Renshaw is playing, he should open. Actually, I think that's a very, very interesting point, Howarth is best. I tend to agree because he has batted well there and he is an opener by trade. He's been down the middle order a lot of late for his stateside, but I would argue he'd be a better opener. That could well mean, who would you put as, would you put Renshaw with Kawaja? Perhaps that's the right opening partnership and give Warner a bit of a break from opening. Who knows whether that will be the case. I tend to agree with you there. That's a pretty good suggestion indeed. Brahmarani is still there, yes. You and Munchie had a bit of a chat there, I saw. So, yeah, we're looking at bowling the 28th over now. They bowl 28 overs in each session. I wonder if this will be the last over. So, Nathan Lyon has not been that effective today. He did take the 1 wicket of Sky, but he hasn't been that effective. He's gone for 97 runs off his 35 overs now, 98 actually, and he's about to, it comes with an end with his 35th over. So, yeah, he's been not as Todd Murphy's been outstanding with these 5 wickets. He's been fantastic. And as they describe, Latham Lyon bowls over the top and he needs to bounce and turn to be effective, and he's not getting on this pitch. Whereas Murphy bowls more of a slider type action, which means the ball will skid on and keep low, which is probably more suited to this ground. It has a bit of a more of a deeper loop. So that's the difference. So Lyon bowls over the top, and Todd Murphy likes to slide through, so it's slightly a different action, which he has adapted somewhat apparently. So Brahmarani, Ashton Agar should have played. Yes, I agree. Not good to keep giving him so many chances when so many in line. Okay. Boland has been disappointing too. Well, he's been steady. He's been very steady. He's not as penetrative as he is at home in Melbourne or MCG, as we know, and we wouldn't have expected that, to be honest with you. And so this partnership now would have to be pretty close to the biggest partnership of the day, as a matter of fact. When did the wicket fall? Let's have a look at when the wicket fell. I'll be able to tell you that in a minute. If I get that last wicket falling. This partnership is actually 71. The biggest partnership today was 73. So we really have a situation here where, yeah, the opening partnership was 73. Well, actually, 76 was the opening partnership. So that's, and there we are. Axel Patel and Jadeja are both there. They're carrying on. They're 311 for 7. 108 overs gone on the day's play. So this is a 71-run partnership. So effectively, we could be looking at the biggest partnership today, and that's this particular wicket, which is amazing. Today's not at 60, and Axel Patel's not at 48 off 80 balls. Amazing. Yeah, so that's 71 partnership. So we only get 5 more runs, 6 runs actually to be the biggest partnership of the day, of the innings. And quite incredible. Again, Jadeja, 60, could well keep going at his 100 after taking 5 wickets. Amazing story. Todd Murphy, unfortunately, won't be getting a century, I doubt, when he bats, but he has taken 5 wickets, and he's very, he's able to hopefully keep the ball as a bit of a souvenir of his first match. A great honour at the age of 22. And it's very impressive indeed. Cummins has bowled some 18 overs, and he's got 1 for 74. A common rate of 4, which is rather expensive on this week. I got a variety. What's Munchie saying? The variety, Mr. Blue, the variety of right arm and left arm spin is better than 2 right. Of course it is. But then Todd Murphy's bowled well enough, that bunch. You must remember that. Has anyone noticed that Axel and Jadeja are left-handers? Yeah, it's a good point. Very good point. They're both in command, actually. Would Travis Head have been successful? I don't really care whether he was successful. He's not the same, so we're not going to bother talking about it. And there was a lot of carrying on about being a disgrace. Well, his form has not been good on the subcontinent for a number of tours, so I can't say he's automatic selection or I think that's what they've done. They've done it for the right reasons. Anything beyond 150 is not good for Australia. That's true. And we're already up to what? It's at least 134 now. So there, it's borderline 150 just back. Australia could do all that. Beaten by innings and some runs actually. And Australia missed Green badly, not Head. Correct. Earth is best. That is correct. Cam Green is really showing up. The England side is Ben Stokes. India has Jadeja, Ashwin, and Axar Patel for that matter. They also, the South Africans, well, have they got an all-rounder? Not really, but Australia certainly needs an all-rounder and a good one. And they have got one, but he's injured. So he's not far. I'd say he'll be available for the second test. So we'll see him in Delhi, followed by Dharmashal and then Ahmedabad. So there's enough time for this series to be resurrected if we get who's this bowling now? Is Murphy still on? And Axar Patel moves to 49. Incredible. The number 9 batsman is about to score a 50 in an innings when it's hard to bat. Great performance. Jadeja's on 60. This partnership is certainly going along gangbusters. It's actually, they came together when the score was 240. This is a 72-run partnership. As I said, I think 76 is the biggest. The opening partnership between Rahul and Rohit Sharma, and that's the biggest. So we're effectively looking at a situation where another 6 runs, 6, 7 runs, and no, actually not 6 or 7. It's actually 4 or 5. We'll see them as the biggest partnership of the innings. What have we got here comment-wise? So making the comment that pitch is doctored for left hands doesn't sound well. Look, this whole thing, Robert Crash been carrying like a pork chop. I'm particularly ticked off with it. I think I'm sick of hearing about pitches because we could talk about the Australian pitches till cows come. That were green, poor decks as well. England have had, you would argue, poor decks based on swing and conditions, and India's got their own conditions. It's all well and good. I don't really care. Both teams are going to play it. How can we say hard to bat? Exactly. Virat and Pujal's wicket was soft. Yeah, they were. Virat and they were both pretty soft. But then Rohit Sharma's batted well. So was Jadeja. There's been some really good innings here. It simply says you need to have skills and application. Correct. Both teams are in the same boat. Imagine if Warner hit 100. Well, I don't think mentally he's capable of it. I think he'll have a very ordinary series. We'll see how they go. Labuschagne was pretty impressed in the first things, but that's about all. So there, this is the closing shot now. Okay. Swing conditions and the weather, not the pitch. I know that, Munchie, but you also have decks which take that bite out that they seam as well. Come on. Don't tell me England wickets aren't put together to be good seaming wickets as well. And the swing's there, so I know it's weather conditions, but it suits England as it does New Zealand. So yeah, we can't say you doctor the weather, but the pitches would certainly be conducive to that as well. You don't give me any rubbish that they're not, Munchie. Yeah, that's the beauty of Test cricket. The home side has a chance of doctoring the wicket, or not doctoring, strengthening, playing to their strength. Exactly. If India likes spin bowls, bowl to have a deck which is crumbly. That's the way it is. People who cry over pitch needs to understand that the pitch paid it professionally. Exactly. England wickets are done to last 5 days and maximise revenue. Okay, Munchie. But you're not telling me they're favouring England. Of course they do. So it looks like the batters are taking their gloves off at the end of the day. It's India lead by 135 runs. And Axar's getting his arm looked at, which is rather strange considering we're almost at the end of the day's play. He's getting some sort of water bottle on his arm. I'm not sure, maybe a bit of cramping. So, everything is unfortunate. True. How do you see this selection of Australian team? In my view, it could have been better. I think so too. No team should have 4 bowlers. That's a selection mistake in itself. Travis Head's selection is not the issue. Hanscom and Rachel, well, that's dubious, but one of those should have went. Axel Patel should have been selected to have a fifth bowler. Rohit Sharma had no problems with any of the Australian bowling, having scored a magnificent 120, which was near faultless except for the last ball, which got him out. 135 lead is almost enough. Recently, so many matches in England finished in 3 days. Okay, explain that one, Munchie. And it was 3 days because it was last round, so technically it's 2. There you go. Rohit Sharma looks particularly content. His team is 135 runs in front. Australia didn't even get many more than that. They got 177. So if traditionally you get less runs in the second innings than you do in the first, so Australia could be looking at being all out well before the score, before they need to get India to bat again. So Jadeja's on 60. Early finish due to bad skills. Okay. And there's some beautiful shots being played by Sharma in reply. He drove the ball well, he lofted the ball well, he played well all round. Very impressive indeed. All right, we're going to just wait. We're getting replays of Rohit Sharma's batting. Once he hit the ball beautifully on the leg side, lofted the ball well, drove the ball well. Some great on drives. He batted faultlessly for his 120 and put everyone else to shame. Face green, smiling. There has been a trend now to make day 5 free entry in England. Well, that's always been the case in Australia too, actually. In most test grounds, because you can't motivate people to come on the 5th day unless it's gripping. So Jadeja and Axel Patel are still batting on here. Jadeja's on 60. What a magnificent performance play. 5 wickets bowled particularly well, and now 69 out on his return comeback match after injury. The guy's a freak. He's close to 35 years of age, actually. Okay, Norman, when will you visit Kolkata? We'll meet you with some good night ahead. Mr. Blue, we will. I'll definitely be in Kolkata later in the year, around October, for the World Cup. That's definite. Before that, I'm not sure if there's any matches there. There are not. They're in mostly the west and northwest, not on the east. So I'll be there actually. Bagendra Katwala, can this win or draw? Can Australia win or draw? They certainly can't win it, I don't believe. Can they draw it? It's unlikely because time's flying. They're already in the second innings on the second day. That means we've got 3 days to finish 2 innings, and I can't see either team lasting it that long. Oh, that was another edge there of Murthy Kawala's 6th wicket. What's happened here? Jadeja just popped one through. One person no one talks about a comeback being dropped is Sharma. He played 100+ tests and people just forgot him. Well, I don't know whether they've got him, Bram. He's just no longer in the team. You're going to see much. You're going to be seeing me in the summer because I'll be playing cricket in England against Chris, and you'll be watching with Richard and David Gravity. So there you go. No, they're not, unless Smith and Warner will hit double tons. Not hitting double tons. I'm not sure you. So they're now 73 runs in front. I'm sure that's the end of the day's play. But they're taking the gloves off. Oh, it was off the glove. So the biggest partnership there was 76. This is 73. We'll make that 74. It looks like this partnership is one of the biggest partnerships. This is really making it messy for the Australians. And there it is. Axel Patel gets 50 runs. My God, he and Axel Patel's from 50 and Jadeja's on 60. Incredible. Mr. Blue, just a matter of days when Usman Malik will get the red cherry in his hands. I think so. Yeah, 50 for Axel, I can see that. Yeah, I think Malik's not there at the moment. Both Siraj and what's his name? Siraj and Sharma are both playing very well. So Axel Patel 50, Jadeja 61, at 314. That means they're 74. I'm very impressed that they only got 2 runs to beat the biggest partnership, which was between Rohit Sharma and Rahul. Is that the end of the day's play? I'm not sure. Akshar Patel, 50 not out. He's batting number 9 in the batting order, and he's just scored a 50. It just makes everybody look quite. No Australian batsman got a 50. I think Labuschagne was the closest with 49, and that's it. But here we have Jadeja and Akshar Patel, the all-rounders, the spinning all-rounders, have just scored 50s, along with, of course, Rohit Sharma's magnificent 120. So they've shown everybody else up, and they're left-handers, and the conditions shouldn't be suiting because there's ball spinning away. It doesn't seem to affect either of them. They're still playing. It's now 10:18 my time, which they've gone 18 minutes over time as far as I'm concerned. 7 for 314. They're still playing on. So we're going to be looking at least, if they get 150 plus, which they will, anywhere beyond this is now going to make Australia really pay. Aussies missed a left arm spinner big time. They did. And I think that would be the max of it. I don't know why he wasn't playing. Aussie need good opening partnership too. Yeah, they both got out for singles, didn't they, last inning? So you're right. Let's look. 7 for 314. Akshar Patel not out 50. Jadeja 61 not out. They're 137 runs. In fact, there's Matthew Renshaw. The right arm off break's coming on to bowl. This must be some form of desperation here. 3 overs left in the day, according to Crick Info. Okay. They'll bring Matt Renshaw on, so he's bowled a rank full toss, and amazing with Jadeja only got a single off that. So far I've seen Labuschagne bowl rank full tosses and now Renshaw. This is not good bowling. This is what happens when you have 4 recognised bowlers and you start to look for a 5th bowler. You haven't got one. Steve Bishop bowl now. I'm not even kidding. Well, yeah, he probably will bowl next. Is Renshaw able to bat? Well, they're saying he's got a bad knee, so if he's there bowling, he must be able to bat, you would think. It was early discussion about that, so I don't know what's going on. So they've gone, this is the biggest partnership of the day, 77. Jadeja 62 and Akshar Patel 52. So this partnership is now 77. The biggest previous partnership was 76 between Sharma and Rahul. So this is now officially the biggest partnership of the innings. And it's for the 8th wicket. Oh my God, another full toss. That's full toss after full toss here. They're trying to buy the wicket. I say they are. Awful, absolutely awful. Renshaw is no better than a part-time spinner. Another full toss. We're not playing baseball here, we're playing cricket. And Jadeja's just pecked it off for 4 and now Andrew McDonald does not look happy, and nor should he be. His team's just getting smacked around at the end of the day's play here. There are 144 runs adrift. India's lead is 144. That's way too many. And that was an absolute rank full toss. And the greatest of each day just clipped it away for 4. Aussies need 3 centurions. Well, they're not going to get any. I'd be surprised I think if they get 200 as a team, they'll be lucky. And that means they're going to get to leave 50 odd runs for India to bat, which they'll be at most. I can't see them making 200, to be honest. Hello, Tamia Cheney. How are you? So, Axel Patel, what he's facing. Todd Bovey, who has bowled the best, 5 for 82 off 35 overs. Quite an amazing bowling performance. I wouldn't say because Renshaw, Australia will lose the match here. They're going to. Cricket Mirror, hi, how are you? Axel Patel's looking very comfortable. These two could go on a century, for God's sake. Axel's on 52, Jadeja's on 66. How am I? Rishabh 7. I've not heard of Rishabh 7 before. How are you? I expect Australia to bat better in the second innings and they will do better. Well, I don't actually. I actually don't. Patel, Ashwin, and really, Jadeja will clean this up. Laters all okay, Munchie. See you later, Munchie. Munchie's leaving us. He's off to Zurich or something. I think he said he was off to Zurich. And good old Todd Murphy seems to be very pleased with himself with these 5 wickets, and so he should be. There's no other bowler that's bowled nearly as well as him. We're now looking at Todd Murphy's figures. He's got 5 for 70, 82 actually. Now he's 36 over. Max Michel's having a field out with him. Lions bowl 36 overs, and Tom Murphy's about to finish his 36th over. Then you've got 18 and 17 from Cummins and Boland, then 5 from Labuschagne, and then 1 over from Renshaw. So India is 7 for 321. The turn is there, but it's a slow turn, not troubling the batsman much. Surely the Aussies will get bat better. Well, they didn't bat well in the first innings, didn't they? I don't know how long they're going for because it's 10:24. I would have thought that was the end of the day. So it's last over. It must be. So India lead by 144. They're 7 for 321, so they've added a further 244 today. Or 100 in arrears before, now they're 244 today. They're 144 in front. So that's how I know that. Lions bowled 36 overs, 1 for 98. Is about to entertain us with his 37th over. Akshar on at 52, and today's not at 66. So our Earth is better. India. Well, I'm not sure what you're trying to tell me there. Alex Carey looks very pensive behind the stumps. Today's a 66 not out. Back to ably by Akshar on 52 not out. And they don't know what they're waiting for. They're stuffing around. They're looking at the side screen. And this latest is 1 over to go. Big gobsmacked here. Nathan Lyon's going off a long run. What's he doing? Now the other batsman's gone well off because of his shadow. And this must be the last over, so I'm almost finished. Akash Naik, what are you asking? To trigger Western former cricketers, just send them the pic of Indian pitch creator. Yes, I think that's hilarious. Indian pitch has proven to be totally okay. India's has scored 321 runs for 7. 3 of the batsmen have got 150, one got 52, one got 60, one got 120. So there's nothing wrong with the pitch. They lead by 144 runs and they're making a mockery of it. Must be the last over, is it? Yes, the Jadeja not out 66. Akshar Patel not out 52. The partnership now is 100 and not 100, sorry, 81. The biggest partnership of the innings, beating the 76, which was the opening partnership. This must be the last over. And we're still 7 down. That means India still got 3 weeks to play with Sharma and Siraj in the dressing rooms, and Akshar Patel on 52 and Jadeja on 66. These both could go on and score hundreds tomorrow and really put the nail in the coffin. Awful, awful indeed. 7 for 321. Oh, and it's been dropped, is he? Oh, another drop catch. Nathan Lyon would be upset. Like drop catch there. Jadeja's been dropped by Smith at first slip off line. So I think the second or third catch now. And Smith is laughing, but he should have called that. That was catchable. Very, very catchable. And he's shaking his head. Well, he's not happy. Well, so he should be. Today's not at 66. Dropped. Yes, it was dropped. Awful. I'm assuming that's the last ball of the day. 37th over from the line. And Smith is sitting there looking rather dejected. Looking at a replay now. The ball bounced a little bit, and yeah, he should have caught that. That went into his right hand. He, in fact, kicked it up. Oh, God. So he kicked off his back foot, went into the air, and I made a bit of a mockery of it, which would have been, let's look here, he's put it up and hit his foot, and it's gone off his foot, up in the air, and then he made no real attempt to catch it. And look, they're replaying it quite a few times now. And you'd have to say that was a bad miss by Smith. Very catchable. So India are 7 for 321. After 114 overs, India lead by 144 at the day's play. Axar not out 52, and Jadeja not out 66. Lyons last over was his 37th, and he's 1 for 98. So an 81 run 8 wicket stand. The first was the opening set of 76, and they've bettered that. These two are incredible. It's Stump's correct. And Todd Murphy's been given the opportunity to walk off the ground first with these 5 wickets, and he'd be pretty happy about that, I'm sure. Tired but happy, taking 5 wickets on his first ever bowling performance for Australia. Australia deserved to lose 4-0, I would agree. Very poor. They're leaving the field here. So at the end of the day's play, India are 7 for 321, so they've added 244 today. Hence the lead is 144. Rohit Sharma was out for 120, bowled Cummins. Rahul was out 20 last night, caught and bowled Murphy. To an up itself here. Ashwin was LBW Murphy today for 23. Pujara was out, caught bowl and bowled Murphy for 7. Virat Kohli was caught Carey, bowled Murphy for 12 after the break. Then you had Surya Kumar Yadav. Sky was bowled by Lyon for 8. Srikar Bharat was out LBW to Murphy for 8. That would have been his 5th wicket. Then we had Jadeja joined by Patel, and they've had a 81 run partnership. Jadeja won 66 with 9 fours, and Axar Patel 52 with 8 fours. The score is 7 for 321. They could even go for 400 here. They're making a mockery of this whole thing. It really is a pretty ordinary day for Australia. And Axar Patel very happily is on 52 now. He's shown he's an all-rounder. So is Jadeja, and so is Ashwin. They've got 3 all-rounders, so they haven't got one. Aussie's too tired to make a comeback now. And yeah, exactly. I'd say it's more than just too tired. It's just about it really for. All right, so we finish the day on 7 for 321. We'll resume tomorrow, and we'll have a great day. Any other questions, guys? Aussies, yeah, they are too tired. Axar Patel is there. You can see him clearly. He's had a lovely old day. He'd be very happy. Wouldn't you be? I would be. But was being lauded over his efforts as well. Poor fielding from the Aussies. I think it's more than fielding in the end. It was just the general conditions. Mentally, they're a bit gone now, I'd say. On 6 minutes. Live preview. Is it preview or live review? Okay, so it's 5:41 there. The feeling was Aussies was certainly poor. Very poor. And 7 for 321 after 140 overs, only 5 extras. Rohit's 120 was the biggest. So the biggest partnership is definitely the last one of 81 off 185 balls. Yes, it's been, again, in retrospect, 7 for 3, 2, 1. With the partners, the 8th wicket partnership was 81. It's the highest, followed by Rohit and Rahul. And the opening was 76. Cummins has bowled 18 overs for 1 for 74. Boland 17 for 34. So he went for 2. Lyon 37 overs, 1 for 98. He was mildly expensive, but he certainly, did his best. Murphy, fantastic, 36 overs, 9 maidens, 5 for 82. Brilliant effort. Labuschagne, 5 overs, wasted time, and so was Renshaw. So in summary, Australia 177, India 7 for 3, 2, 1 with a 144 run lead. Rowan at 120. Today's not at 66 and Aksa Patel's not at 52. Murphy with 5, Cummins 1, and Lyons 1. So Boland did not figure in the run taking department, which is sad for him. Virat needs to work against spin. Well, I think he played it was an unfortunate shot. Yeah, and Smith dropped the catch again. I saw that. Murphy was excellent. Great watching the fast forward. You're right. What do you think? At least 5 is manageable for Australia to overcome and win the game? No. Varun, Bakshi, it's no hope in hell. They're not going to. There's one drop catch. I can see a second clip. And then, of course, Cummins bowled. And then little Barrett came in and hit a couple of nice shots. And there was LBW, unfortunately. Oh, boy. Virat really needs to work. Murphy was excellent. He certainly was. Today's might end up scoring a century, I think so. I think their mindset is the problem. Yes, the mindset is a big problem. Rowe's 100 in this instance, his 120 was a masterclass. It was a faultless performance. Superb, in fact. Very much superb. It's very, very impressive. There's no doubt about how good he was. So those that are coming on now, I hope you're viewing and liking and sharing the posts and also subscribing. It's important to do that. All right. Virat needs to work in spin. I think he's okay. Cricket, Kaibo, Australia always talk about pitches. They should improve skills from, and folks, I agree. Totally agree. And today's has witnessed a number of drop catches. It's quite incredible how many drop catches there have been. It's been a staggering amount of drop catches. Staggering. Absolutely staggering. And Aksa Patel's 52, and these full tosses from Renshaw, full tosses from Lyon even. Lyon got a drop catch there at the end of the day with C. Smith dropping. Good day to all our brown boys. Australia always talk about pitches, they do. It's disgusting how often they are. And here we are, everybody's turning up to listen to me talk, and I'm about to finish now. I'll talk a bit longer. What is your take on Rohit's 100 in this? It is a magnificent century. One of the best captains I've seen for some time. He was faultless, streets ahead of the rest of it. He batted from the opening position right through to the last wicket that fell. He's been an absolute command, and it's very, very impressive indeed. Got a lot of time for him. A lot of time for him. Absolutely. He's been fantastic. Why is it 650? I thought it was up there, 800. So many is worse many ever. I'd agree with that. Oz use useless, non-regular bowlers. Yep. Bad feeling. I'd say bad feeling as well. Yep. Australia not taking their chances. Correct. TODD are here. I can see what happened to Aussies. Are they afraid of King Collar? More than that. The Urgish Rowan, us are not something they're taking it exactly. When is Fox? Where is who's saying that? Oh, yeah, Fox is just Australia. what happened to Aussies? It's not about being in front of Collie, it's not up to scratch. This pitch usually plays well in the second and third innings. Really? Well, it's pretty good at the moment. It's hot here in Australia. No problem with the pitch, so I agree. Might be all out India team thanks to Oz filling it. Yep. Absolutely. They should have played Travis Head. Major Merck, I don't know whether that was the problem. I think they needed another bowler. Head could have been a bowler, yes, but he wouldn't have been that impacting, that's for sure. We want to see Oz batting first, or have a batting flight back. You want to see it? Well, I'm hopeful, but I'm not that hopeful. They should have. Yeah, we want to see Oz batting back. If Punt was there, I think Aussies will be booking their flight backs probably. Left-hander at number 9 scoring 50. Hope Warner and Khawaja will make some runs. That's true. Dinesh Barrera, Gill should all play. Well, Shulman Gill's also another selection that's interesting. Travis Head could have played a major innings. I don't think so. Why Matt Renshaw playing instead of Travis Head? If they do not want a lefty, then go when that's a fair point. Many talk about left-hand pitch doctrine when it happens against Indian left-handers. Good point. The two of them there did pretty well today. Did pretty well indeed. Coley should play next match. Yeah, I think it's a fairly good call. Maybe he will. I don't know about you guys, but it's getting very hot in here, and I'm just concerned how much I can survive. Third day is best to bat. Well, it should be. So, are you Australian? I am certainly Australian. Born in Australia, but I have German parents, but I'm Australian. SHARMA was just phenomenal stuff. So 1 for 77 start. They went to 321. Vera and Smith doing college of shopping, drawing catches. And Coley dropped a few on that. Smith has dropped more now. It's not the sort of game they want to play, I'm sure. Especially they got Rohit Sharma was fantastic. Take some rest, man. You need it. I do. Now, actually, I can't sit in the next match after this call. It has to unfortunately wait for some time. Probably the case. All right, guys. We're just about coming up to an hour now, and I'm going to call it quits. I'm not going to go for 2 hours. It's too long. I am tiring, and we've got a big week coming up with other activities. So Australia is struggling in India, and bad feeling is, of course, you're right, Rashad. Only the best talent can bat well in India, like Hayden, Steve Smith, Clark, and War. That's pretty true. How much time is there? What time is it? It's 10:43 p.m. Okay, guys, we're going to say goodnight. I'm happy with the way things are going. Again, India are 7 for 3-2-1, 144-run lead. They're looking down the barrel of probably scoring a 200-run lead at least. Jadeja is not at 66 and Axel 52. Keep going. And Sharma can have a bit of a hit and won't know what Siraj does. Why Agar was not picked, I don't know. He wasn't bowling well in the nets, apparently. He was underwhelming in the nets. He didn't play well in the last match against Sydney Islanders. That probably helped. All right, guys. Take care. It's now 10:43. We've had a day's, but why Agar? We've messed up with the Agar situation. Take care, guys. We'll see each other tomorrow. All the best.